we have William Rieber Jr., who's running for re-election, the incumbent for town supervisor in the town of Thompson. Thank you so much for coming here in person, and joining us here on the program.
My pleasure.
I wonder, you've been the town supervisor for a very long time. Why are you still in the race? Why do you want to be supervisor again?
I enjoy the job. It's, but it's not a sexy job. There's a lot of work involved there. It's a lot of boring grunt work with finances and bonding and uh, sewer improvements and the like. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of the good results we're getting, and they're good.
Right. Well, let's talk about some of the results you've been getting. You're going to talk about things you have accomplished in your years. How long have you been supervisor?
12 years.
12 years.
This is my 12th year.
12
Yeah.
years as supervisor, but you've been on the council before that, right?
I was on the council when my kids were in diapers.
Wow.
Yeah, back in 1981 was my first year.
Right.
So I spent 29 years as a councilman and deputy supervisor for most of that time. 4 years I was out. I served on the ZBA, and then I came back in when Tony Salini retired and took over as supervisor.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what's the things in your 12 years as a supervisor? What things that you feel most proud of that you have accomplished? Well, you and the town board as a group, because it's
Well,
really
yeah, so number one, it works because I've always had a cooperative town board. Sometimes, the easiest thing to say is yes, because if you get a good idea, you want to say yes. So what have I brought to the town? I brought my secretary. Somebody just brought a bill into my secretary today, and she said, "Well, which park is this?" Nobody could ask that question 10 years ago because we only had one park.
right.
Now we have a Neversink Access Park, which is phenomenal. An idea I brought to the table because I remembered I'd been around long enough to remember that we had 4 acres of land on the river, and let's make use of it. So we built a park. It's beautiful. We acquired another park in Rock Hill through personal relationships that I had and our family with a member of the board of the United Cerebral Palsy Association in New York City. That's why we have a 140-acre park in Rock Hill, because I brought that to the table. They weren't using it. We reached out to them. I reached out to them to see if we could make a deal and make a park. It was a little controversial when it started. Some people don't really see the benefit of parks, but I do. Parks are forever. And not everybody has a community building like, Emerald Green and Neversink Lake and a lake to swim in and a pool. And these are the things that are missing for the people, a lot of people in the town that just don't have those accesses. And once you have a piece of land in the park system, it's in the park system forever. I believe in that strongly.
Right. This is Lake Ida in Rock Hill, right?
This would be Lake Ida in Rock Hill, which is just a gorgeous, we acquired it. I took the initiative to go out to bid to tear down all the old camp buildings on the property right in the middle of COVID. And because there's a lot of contractors out there that need work, and we got a tremendous price. Got rid of all the buildings, and now we have a clean landscape to build on. We
Right.
just put a bathroom in there. We've had music in the park that started this summer. And little by little, dollar by dollar, as we get funds in from developers, which actually funds a lot of these improvements in the park. Plus, our relationship with people, with our legislators and stuff like that. We're constantly getting very nice grants to fund some of these improvements.
Right. Well, I remember before it was turned into Lake Ida Park, Rock Hill Fire Department used to do training sessions there. Are they still using the park for that, or they moved to a different location? They were doing like water rescue.
Yeah.
We went there.
No, we do. We
Yeah.
did I'm a member of the fire department for 51 years. And I'm still active. So we did a water rescue drill. We do that annually in the middle of icy, cold winter.
Yeah.
Cut holes in the lake and figure out how to rescue people. Pump drills. Yeah, we definitely are.
So the park is still being used for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's a community park, and
Right.
fire department's part of the community. So
Yeah. Definitely. So, if you're reelected there again, what? Well, let me ask you this: what challenges do you see the town running into in the next 4 to 8 years? I want to say challenges, but I don't mean bad or good. It could be bad or good. Infrastructure is one of them. Sullivan County is growing.
Oh yeah, infrastructure is growing. I have to talk about infrastructure. And sometimes the most boring part of the job, but it's important because when you flush a toilet, you pay us to keep it. You don't want it back, so we have to get rid of it, and we have to comply with current regulations. So we're doing work on Rock Hill Evergreen sewer plant, Kiamisha sewer plant, the Harris sewer district, Melody Lake water system, which is almost done right now. That's great shape. and Sackett Lake. It's about 65 to $75 million worth of work. Um, I was right on years ago, I did a commissioned a, or the board actually commissioned a, infrastructure study. So we went over every single sewer plant, every water plant, and all our, manholes and whatever, and came up with a study that outlined what shape they were in, what work would be needed to improve it, and how we could accomplish that. So that really paid off because when through COVID, they had the bipartisan infrastructure funds available. And really, it was just a matter of getting on top and proving very quickly that we could implement projects that would get people working, get the economy stimulated. We got commitments for, oh,
Mhm.
7, probably, I think about $20 million in BIL funding, which is phenomenal. Now,
Yeah.
we're putting that to use now because we're actually starting to go to bid on that work
Mm.
this fall. And that'll bring all of our plants up to date, meet current specs, and allow for some new construction, but we didn't really pick up a lot of capacity. So, lack of sewer and lack of water does limit growth in a lot of ways, but, what we have is gonna be in good shape. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be probably a 2-year, 3-year project to get all this construction done, and then we'll start on second.
Well, in your long career there, in your 12 years, have you ever looked back and said, I would have changed this or maybe handled a situation differently? And if so, why?
I don't I don't know that I would have. I think we've always been forward looking. Um, we've had a lot of challenges in my decades on the board for sure. We went through, terrible, terrible economic times back in the 90s. Concord shut down. We weathered that, and a lot of that I had a good part of. When the Concord shut down years ago, we had just completed a million gallon a day expansion to the sewer plant, and now we didn't have a tax base to support it. I sat down with Tony back in the day, and we actually cut a deal with Luca Pelli to pay the full rate for years because we reserved some capacity for that development. That bailed the town out to keep the district solvent. So there was a lot of challenges, but we met them head on. You can't bury your head in the sand when there's a challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you get reelected again, anything you're sort of looking forward to accomplishing, finishing, or looking to initiate in your next term?
I'm going to continue with a lot of stuff we're doing. Again, I believe in parks. We have plans, ongoing plans for Lake Ida Park and Rock Hill. Ongoing plans. We're actually finishing a dog park right now in East Mongo Park in Harris. Dog park and a brand new playground, which is being installed as we speak. So these are the type of things. I want to go to a pavilion in Rock Hill so that people have a place to have parties and family parties and get-togethers. I'd like to move that forward eventually to a building that's heated and year round so that we can do programs, like the Boys and Girls Club does in Circleville Park and town of Wallkill. Uh, those things are important. Uh, we have a challenge managing growth and the fact that, everybody is it's a double-edged sword. Oh, we need home, housing, affordable housing. Well, you don't get affordable housing on 5 acres. Yeah, it's nobody likes a crowd.
Right.
And that's a challenge that's ongoing. Part of that we're handling by updating our comprehensive plan, which was started last year. We're right now we've got all the public comment from the committee that worked, and I thank them for doing the work to bring this to where the point where it is now. The next step would be for the town board to look at it and come up with a plan the town board's comfortable with, and then it goes for another public hearing and before we finalize it.
Right. And is that you think it will be accomplished by this year?
I think it'll be done by the end of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you
Yeah.
also started the budget process now.
Budget process is, in the works right now. I just, submitted a budget on September 30th, that calls for another reduction in taxes. We've had, 11 straight years of tax reductions on the town's operating account.
Right.
So we're in luckily and thankfully, we're in the best shape we've ever
Right.
been in. So
And how does places like I mean, the casino is not, hasn't been up in for 11 years, but, how does, like, the casino play into this? Is it beneficial to the town as far as bringing money in?
Oh, sure, sure. So, we're on a pilot arrangement as far as real property taxes is probably 250,000 a year property taxes that comes into the town. On top of that, we get host community benefits, which range in that $2.5 million range right now. Um, and that's been pretty flat. I'm a little disappointed it's not going up, but it's there.
Right.
The biggest benefit is you've got 1,600 people working. I mean, you have a payroll that comes out of the Cartwright and the casino that probably is conservatively no less than 80, $90 million a year. And the turnaround on that money, when it's spent locally, is huge. And the good part of that is with the new construction and businesses that have come into the Thompson business, 42 business district, for instance, they've got a place to spend it. And in past years, if you needed shoes for your kids and, for school, you're going to run to Middletown. Today you've got Marshall, you've got Old Navy, you've got Walmart's, which is the anchor, I guess, for the
Yeah.
district. We've had tremendous investment in retail properties in the Route 42 business district.
Right, you have, Five Below just, opened up, Verizon's gonna open up
Verizon,
soon, and, Starbucks.
Starbucks, Middletown Medical, which I actually put that deal together as a realtor, but it kept, decent and broad spectrum medical care in the town of Thompson.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. So you've got a Hampton Inn now. So if you have a family party, you've got another place for somebody to stay.
Yeah.
Good quality stuff. We've got another suites building going up right next to that for short-term rental heart apartments, Candlewood Suites type thing. We have a Candlewood Suites coming into Rock Hill. They're just ready, fully approved, ready to start pull a permit and start building that. And it's well needed, and then it generates jobs in construction, generates revenue for the county. County is up to over $80 million a year in sales tax right now. When I probably 8 or 9 years ago, that number was closer to 32, 33 million. By my estimation and some of the people we talked to, 40 to probably closer to 50% of that sales tax is coming out of the town of Thompson. So I feel a strong responsibility to keep our economic situations solid because it benefits no man's an island.
Right.
And, if you come from New York, they don't know the difference between the border of Thompson, Liberty, or Fallsburg. It's it's Monticello, it's Liberty, it's Sullivan County. So we have a responsibility to people in this county, I believe, and for one further reason, because if you're a town of Thompson taxpayer, you're paying about 20% of the county's budget, and they have a $300 million budget. So I
Right.
watch that pretty closely.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned, like, you help broker the deal for Middletown Medical as a real estate person, and
Yeah.
that's something that sometimes has come up in board meetings from, residents and in public comments, or like I say, social media, is that, I guess, the look or the appearance of influence that you and your family have, on the town because you own Rieber Realty,
Mhm.
your family is also in the business, things like that. How do you deal with that with the, um I guess the separation that you from a town supervisor and from the real estate person? Well, without having a conflict of interest.
Well, listen, my policy, and if you watched our last town board meeting, we had a tiny little thing in the
Mhm.
agenda that I thought there was a conflict on. "Excuse me, Melinda, would you please handle this?" Or in this case, it was John Pavesi because Melinda was out. And I literally walk out of the room, out of earshot. Somebody has to come and get me. I involve myself? No way.
Right.
I've never had a major conflict. And if there's even the appearance of a conflict, I absolutely leave the room. I don't speak to the subject, about the subject. I don't interject my opinion, and you'll never see me do that.
Right. Now, just go back to the comprehensive plan. I remember I witnessed the most recent one, that, someone brought up during public comment about the comprehensive plan and the sort of the nervousness of a development that's going on in Thompson, even Fallsburg,
Mhm.
the growth that they're seeing there. Are you taking those comments into consideration when developing the comprehensive plan since the growth is becoming more and more? Like if I go even like a Fallsburg, I drive down 42 and it's just
Yeah.
development after development now. leading into Thompson.
True, true. But if you look at some of the developments in Thompson, you have to actually have to look at them to find them.
Mhm.
You know, if you drive down Anawanna Lake Road, there's 2 developments, one on the right, one on the left, right by Fraser Road. And you can blink your eye and go past them and not see that they're there because we have good standards.
Right.
We
Well, I guess more the concern is not only that the appearance of hundreds of houses, but also the strain on infrastructure and the aquifer. Yeah, that's the big concern for a lot of people. I
Mhm.
know the county is doing an aquifer study, or in the process of doing one. I've heard.
They say they are.
Yeah.
They haven't asked for our input yet. I assume they will
Right.
because we have very good data, and we do study that, and we maintain it,
Yeah.
uh,
So the concern
we're very
is that.
cognizant.
So
Sorry.
yeah, no, the concern is that is the environmental concern about breaching into wetlands.
Anybody who doesn't want something throws out eagles, wetlands, and water. I get it. I don't wanna minimize it. Wetlands are highly regulated by the DEC. You just nobody is gonna take a chance with that. It's just not. They're marked off, they're reserved, and you don't build into it. If you do, you're gonna get a ticket, and it's not gonna be from us. It's gonna be the DEC. Um, water water is a problem, and there was recent development with the new village, in a terrace, and I got a lot of I got a lot of push from the community there and actually from my opponent to move forward with building permits on a property that we didn't have water yet. I held off on that and wouldn't allow any permits to be issued until they could demonstrate they had sufficient water for the development. There's people and children that are gonna need this water, and I certainly don't wanna have, houses with a dry well and an empty faucet. So,
Right.
yeah, we're watching, very closely.
Right.
We're actually building a new water system now in Kiamisha. Right now we're supplied by, the Kiamisha Artesian Spring Water Company, which has been acquired by the, people in the Terrace Village, and we're at this point in time, we've already, tested one well. We're just ordered a drilling of another well so that we can build our own water system and connect into it, you know, protect our business district and protect the, as well. 5 or 600 homeowners in that particular district in Kiamisha, so we
Right.
watch it.
And you spoke about your opponent. You're running against, or Scott Mace is running against you. He's also a Republican, but he's not also. He's a Republican who's also on the town council.
Mhm.
Right now, this is the second time he's ran against you. I guess assuming it's the second time. I don't know if
Might
he's
be
ran.
the 3rd, I'm not sure,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, two
It's
from I'm aware of.
it's every
But
time whenever he's not
right,
on the market for, councilman,
right,
on the election.
election, right. So, come here early voting, which starts on October 25th, and come the election day, November 4th. Why should voters vote for you instead of your opponent, Scott Mace?
I'm steady, I'm involved. I really do have a handle on where things have to be and the finances of this town and where we're going growth-wise. I've been here since the early '60s. 1961, we moved here with my family. We're very involved in the area. We give back to the area. Um, Myself, I've been like I said before, an active member of the fire department. I participate. We're involved in community events. All that, brings together and the knowledge of, what people want and how people feel. And, I listen to people. Uh, I also have some visions, with park system and improvement in infrastructure and beautification that are making the town of Thompson what it is now. This is where I live. This is where my families are. My kids, 5 kids, 4 of them live here with their children. We've got a heavy investment in this town. I've been on Broadway for 56 years now. Started in high school when my father bought that building. We have a business that's got a great reputation. Never had a complaint. Nothing. We just do our job,
Right.
and I think I can do that job for the town. I know I can. So,
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We were talking to William Rieber Jr., who's running for re-election for the town supervisor for the town of Thompson. Again, William or Bill,
yeah, Bill's
as you
fine.
know, Bill's
Yeah,
fine.
Bill or Billy. It's fine.
Bill, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. I do really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tab.